The dangerous carousel is the best in the world, pumping you up with good old adrenaline. All these exhilarating loops and sharp turns, taken at full speed, irresistibly attract millions of adventurous people eager and ready to test their courage. But despite numerous warnings and safety precautions, some carousels are dangerous. Consider this powerful rocket, or perhaps it is actually a catapult, that nearly crushed people when it tore through the area. Would you like to know more about this incident and its implications? So fasten your seatbelts and sit comfortably. Today we'll look at attractions that had to be closed. The Wild Son of the Beast. Among roller coaster enthusiasts, this wooden attraction, Son of the Beast, it is considered truly legendary. It is located in the state of Ohio, and it's a kind of continuation of another wooden attraction, the Beast. Like any good son, the new Beast surpassed its predecessor. These were the fastest and tallest wooden coasters, capable of accelerating riders up to 126 km/h from impressively towering heights of 66 meters. And these were the only wooden coasters in the world with a loop at the time of their opening in the 2000s. But the wooden base did not facilitate a particularly smooth and comfortable ride. Due to problems with it, the Beast's son became blind, too jerky, and the ride inconvenient, although some masochists even liked it. But everything became really bad in 2006. When the car was making a large loop, it suddenly jerked, as if it had hit a huge pothole. At such speeds, the damage was serious, and 27 people were hospitalized, with neck and chest injuries. Later, the inspection revealed that the support beam under the section had cracked and split. Eventually, the attraction was closed for safety reasons. After extensive repairs, it reopened 3 years later. But unfortunately, another passenger was injured on it. This time, he suffered a head injury caused by a strong jolt. Despite a thorough investigation revealing no violations, the shaky reputation of the attraction led to its closure for an indefinite period. The remarkable structure was eventually demolished in 2012. This situation is proving that with every rise inevitably comes a fall eventually. Test for the Dangerous Dragon. When Universal Studios in Florida unveiled their new dragon-themed attraction in 1999, many dedicated carousel enthusiasts were genuinely thrilled. The exhilarating Dragon Duel attraction consisted of two intricately intertwined roller coasters, and the brightly colored carts chased each other like two fierce battling dragons. In one place, they navigated through loops that were separated by 46 centimeters. Passengers surely felt as if they had fought a dragon. Later, the attraction was renamed Dragon Trial and added it to the Harry Potter Magical World section. However, shortly after that, passengers began to behave badly. In 2011, a 52-year-old man was riding the attraction, and on the loop, something flew out of another cart and struck him directly in the face. The injury was so severe that he had an entire eye removed. And fearing that passengers were knowingly ignoring the strict ban on carrying their props on board, operators began launching two carts at different times. However, this turned out to be a fatal blow for the fearsome dragons. Without the element of combat, the attraction's popularity declined, and in 2017, it was closed to build something more magical and interesting. It's definitely less dangerous. If you genuinely want to have fun while avoiding the risk of losing an eye, then please feel free to go ahead and like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content. I won't send you through a loop. I'll turn your world upside down with educational videos. All set? Then let's get back to the video. Horrible Green Lantern. The movie Green Lantern received universal criticism when it was released, so it's no surprise that the Green Lantern First Flight roller coasters also disappointed everyone when they opened in Six Flags Amusement Park in 2011, as they were advertised as the first in the world. Completely vertical, zigzagging roller coasters with rotating seats. However, such a design resembled a pinball machine more. Nevertheless, visitors lined up to try the attraction, and they regretted it. Passengers were tossed along a short 250-meter track. They were moving steadily at 60 kilometers per hour, twisting sharply on turns and turning unexpectedly at various angles throughout the course. They didn't feel quite like heroic flying superheroes soaring above, but rather like fish being nervously shaken inside a green bag. Visitors quickly shared online how painful the trip was, although some said they were bored. Fortunately, people didn't have to suffer for too long. In 2017, the attraction was closed, for unknown reasons. Perhaps it was due to bad reviews and injuries, or maybe it was closed due to decreased popularity. Either way, the carousel stood abandoned for 2 years. and then the park announced its complete closure in 2019. So, this hyped attraction was only in operation for 6 years. Like the movie, these roller coasters turned out to be a failure. Oops! And do you also find the brightly painted cars of all kinds of family roller coasters? Like these, they seem very scary. Well, unfortunately, the frightening design of the roller coasters at Mount Olympus Park in Wisconsin is not yet the worst aspect. This particular open attraction stood merely 13 meters high and reached acceleration speeds up to 47 km/h, resulting in a rather quite boring ride. Although that still didn't guarantee safety. In 2014, Anthony Tyson was riding with his grandchildren, and suddenly his knee bar broke. Anthony flew off the corner like a rag doll and fell from a 5-meter height onto the concrete floor. It's roughly like falling out of a second-story window. Anthony was put into an induced coma for a whole month due to the severity of his injuries. But fortunately, he miraculously survived. However, the attraction did not. The safety inspector checked it with sandbags instead of people. He watched in horror as the knee bar suddenly opened at the same spot where Tyson flew off, leaving absolutely no doubt that the accident would have catastrophic consequences for everyone involved there. Management failed to oversee the safety of the ride, and of course, it was permanently closed that same year. To be honest, I am genuinely glad that we will not have to see these creepy mobile mice anymore. Human catapult. Catapults have become incredibly popular among adrenaline lovers in recent years. And it's perfectly understandable why it is securely fixed within a durable steel capsule, attached to the sturdy spring cabinets of the mobile units that support 2 enormous towers. The cables are gradually tensioned while the capsule is attached to the launch pad. Then the capsule is suddenly released and flies. Like a stone from a slingshot, passengers shoot up 137 meters into the air, at a speed of 161 km/h. What an interesting way to get rid of girls. Filming this from the ground is of course interesting and fun, but such an attraction generates a G-force of up to 5G, and some passengers even lose consciousness. In 2015, Drew Larson was filming his 13-year-old son riding a catapult in Mount Olympus together with his friend. The attraction launched passengers 61 meters into the air, at a speed of almost 100. But this time, a few seconds before the launch, something terrible happened. Oh my god, I never thought something so remarkable could be happening before my very own eyes. Suddenly, a cable on one side of the attraction snapped and collapsed with all its weight next to the boy. These catapults operate with a load of 40 tons on the supporting cables. If the boy had been a couple of centimeters to the right, he would have had to be scraped off the ground with a shovel. So he was just incredibly lucky. Although officially the attraction passed inspection only a month ago, the park management could not provide the proper documentation about the condition of the catapult back in 2013. And judging by the frayed cables that eventually snapped, these documents apparently could not be found. Fortunately, the attraction was closed and dismantled from the park in just 2 days, which undoubtedly saved people from being turned into pancakes. Space chaos. St. Petersburg consistently impresses with its beautiful architecture and history, but it can entertain tourists in a few other ways as well. In the Petrogradsky district is Diva Island, a true dream for thrill seekers. And at the center of this amusement park spins a monster known as the rocket. This attraction accommodates 10 people dreaming to become astronauts. The capsule is attached to the crane with 2 cables at the front and back. The crane gradually spins the passengers at a height of 61 meters. During the flight, the capsule rapidly rotates on its axis, turning passengers upside down as if they are flying in space. Even just from some videos, I get dizzy and start to feel nauseous. Although the worst is this video from 2010. That year, the lives of 10 people were literally hanging by a delicate thread as one of the critical cables snapped completely mid-flight. Rescuers spent over an hour lowering the passengers, but fortunately, no one was seriously injured. The initial investigation showed that the heat present that day could have weakened the metal inside the cable, and it snapped. But it's just a street carousel. The aerial attraction was not supposed to be able to withstand high temperatures. Despite the investigation, the rocket was only closed for a short time for repairs. Also in that same year, carousels for passengers were opened across Russia. No time for smiles. When the unique inverted roller coasters, Smiler, opened at Walton Towers in England, many were very pleased with them. The attraction had 14 loops, and passengers rolled over more often than on other carousels. But soon, enthusiasm turned into fear. After the horrific incident of 2015, the cars looped through the attraction, and suddenly passengers noticed an empty test car in front of them. They screamed, calling for help, but it was already too late. The cars collided with such force that the metal bent, and the front passengers were pinned to their seats. Rescuers hurried to help the passengers and were extracting them for several hours. All 16 people were injured, but 2 girls in the front row were so severely injured that their legs were amputated. It was closed, and an investigation into the incident was conducted. It turned out that the malfunction was noticed on the very same day, and, as was required, the operator sent an empty test car. However, it got stuck on one of the loops due to strong wind, and couldn't clear the path. Not knowing what had happened, the operators ignored the safety warning, and launched passenger cars directly into the test car. It's like watching a collision at 145 km. The error was extremely severe and significant, leading the park's owner, Merlin Group, to decide to close 3 other attractions similar to the Smiler. Ultimately, the incident was attributed to poor operator training, and Merlin Group had to pay several million pounds in compensation. But 9 months later, the Smiler started operating again. It was clear that during this time it was impossible to fix all the problems, and Merlin Group was accused of valuing profit over people. However, since then, the attraction has been operating without incidents. Although perhaps the name should be changed, since Smiler means smiling, maybe Crusher or Destroyer, or maybe Deadly Trap. Do you have other suggestions? Then write them in the comments.